Hello, BBN. I just saw an article listing Kentucky as a big winner in the transfer portal. But the question I want to ask, and do you know your opinion is, would Cal have done the same job as Pope? Answer at the end of the video. Let's analyze. This job, according to CBS Kentucky Basketball, is experiencing a moment of renewal and hope, something that has not been seen in Lexington with such intensity for a long time. With Pope, the program seems to have found a new lease of life, a new identity that blends tradition and modernity in an almost perfect way. The coach's work in this first year in charge of the Wildcats is worthy of applause, especially when we look at the impressive performance in the transfer portal, a tool that, if used correctly, can transform average teams into college basketball giants. With 5 players ranked among the top 60 transfers in the country, Pope proved that his strategic vision goes beyond the court. He saw where the team needed to improve and went looking for talents ready to make an immediate difference. Jaden Quaintance, coming from Arizona State, emerges as a rare gem, a shot blocker who promises to intimidate opponents from the first minute. Alongside him, Mo Diabat, formerly of Alabama, adds physical strength and versatility in the paint, forming a front court that already inspires fear in rivals. On the perimeter, names like Jalen Lowe, Denzel Aberdeen, and Cam Williams bring experience and depth, essential characteristics for teams seeking to compete for championships. The praise from David Cobb of CBS Sports reflects well the national perception of what is happening in Kentucky. It is not every day that a team can lose 5 double-digit scorers, all due to the expiration of their eligibility, and still come out stronger in the offseason. This is directly due to Mark Pope, whose recruiting and strategic planning skills show that he understands the nuances of contemporary basketball. The coach has not only brought in quality pieces, but also created a cohesive roster capable of competing at a high level both in the SEC and in national tournaments. The most interesting analysis, however, is the inevitable comparison with John Calipari, the great figure who shaped Kentucky basketball in recent decades. Calipari built his legacy on elite recruits, players who quickly came through the program before being catapulted to the NBA. That approach yielded numerous successes, including the 2012 national title and multiple Final Four appearances, but it also left gaps that were difficult to fill in subsequent seasons. Pope, on the other hand, is showing that there is another way to reach the top. By using the transfer portal to find experienced, motivated players who are willing to contribute immediately to the project. This raises an intriguing question. Could Calipari build a team as competitive as Pope has in 2025? It's hard to say because each era has its own peculiarities and challenges. But what is clear is that Pope is masterfully navigating the new era of college basketball. He has not only adapted to the changes, but has embraced them, turning them to Kentucky's advantage. The fact that at least 3 starters next season will be the result of their work in the portal demonstrates how important this strategy is to the program's success. However, it would be unfair to ignore the legacy of John Calipari. He was the one who put Kentucky back on the map as a powerhouse in college basketball. His contributions were monumental, and Wildcats fans will always cherish the memories of his accomplishments. The transition to Mark Pope should not be seen as a departure, but rather as a natural evolution. Kentucky basketball remains Kentucky basketball, with its glorious history and insatiable ambition. What really matters is that the program is back, in good hands. With a roster full of talent and a visionary coach at the helm, the Wildcats have everything they need to once again be among the best in the country. And if Mark Pope continues at his current pace, it would be no surprise to see his name mentioned alongside Cal. Not as a replacement, but as someone who has managed to write a brilliant new chapter in the rich history of Kentucky basketball. What do you think? What about our friend Stoops? What will this season be like? Let's see what the guy has to say. After a 2024 season to forget, with a 4-8 performance that marked the worst year since Mark Stoops arrived in 2013, The veteran coach appears to have rekindled the fire that put him at the helm of one of the most resilient programs in college football. The watchword for 2025 is clear: a cultural reset. And from the looks of the spring, Stoops is not only talking about it, but living every step of the way with an enthusiasm that is contagious. Last fall's disastrous campaign exposed cracks in a program that, at its best, was synonymous with grit, unity, and a "why not us" mentality. That identity, which led Kentucky to moments of glory under Stoops, such as consistent seasons and memorable bowl victories, has been overshadowed by an arrogance that, as the coach himself acknowledged, was undeserved. The drop in ticket sales, down nearly 13% from last year, reflects the skepticism of a fan base that now demands concrete results instead of promises. But Stoops, with the calmness of someone who has weathered storms, seems to have found the way to win back the BBN. This spring, the program underwent a profound overhaul, not just in terms of the roster, but in the very essence of what it means to be a Wildcat. Stoops, in a candid conversation with Kentucky legend Randall Cobb for SEC Network, made it clear that the approach for 2025 is different. "We're being very rigorous about demanding the standard," he said, stressing the importance of a deeper, more intentionally constructed roster. The arrival of 31 new players, a significant turnover, has brought a new dynamic to the locker room. These players, described by Stoops as experienced, mature, and aligned with the culture of the program, represent the backbone of a team that seeks to recapture the humility and dedication that marked Kentucky's golden years. The coach, who has been in Lexington for more than a decade, seems reinvigorated. "I'm having fun," he told Cobb, a phrase that carries special weight after a 2024 in which no one in the program found anything to smile about. That fun, however, is not synonymous with lightheartedness. On the contrary, Stoops is being meticulous, emphasizing the program's non-negotiables: unity, accountability, and an unwavering commitment to the collective. "You have to play for each other, love each other," defensive line coach Anwar Stewart said, echoing the sentiment that success in 2025 will depend on a cohesive locker room where individual egos give way to collective effort. One of the most notable changes in Stoops' approach is the end of the premature exaltation of individual talents. In recent years, the hype surrounding certain players has inflated egos and distracted from teamwork. When you award someone, the media picks up on it and says, "This is our guy," Stoops noted, with Cobb adding, "Their egos grow and they change." In 2025, the spotlight is on the collective, with awards reserved for performances in Saturday games rather than spring practice or unproven potential. That mindset reflects a maturity that Stoops seeks to instill not just in his players, but throughout the program. Stoops acknowledges that college football's current landscape, with frequent transfers and a near-free agency dynamic, demands quick adaptation. "We need to nurture the foundations of the program a lot faster than we have in the past," he said. That means not only recruiting players who fit the culture, but also developing strong relationships from day one. The result, Stoops says, is a more solid roster, where mutual trust and shared responsibility are beginning to flourish. Stoops' leadership, which has transformed the program from a perennial underdog to a respected SEC contender, is once again being tested. Now, I want to see what the football will be like. Do you have an opinion?